we're going to consider an ANOVA model, but we're going to look at some more complex scenarios that we need to be careful of when we are fitting ANOVA. Particularly in this video, this video is aimed at scenarios that we encounter in our design of experiments class and some of the data sets we see there. So first things first, we're going to read in an example data set. Now this data set we're looking at here is from the textbook of the Design of Experiments course, looking at resin data. And so this is looking at the lifespan of computers if they were tested at different temperatures. Now for this data set particularly, I'm reading this in and calling it resin. We can see in this data set that we have two variables. We have temperature, which is our treatment or categorical variable, and we have y, which is our response. Now what is of particular note and the main point for this video is that temperature here is a number. R is going to treat it as such, and so we need to do something very specific. So let's consider a couple examples. So we're going to fit our first ANOVA model here. I'm going to do AOV. We're interested in Y, and we want to compare it to temperature, and we're going to specify that this is coming from the resin data set. Now if we run this, it's going to fit an ANOVA model, and we can do either the ANOVA function afterwards, or you can do summary of this fitted value, and both are going to return our ANOVA table. Now note, this is one I encourage everyone to pay attention to. Our categorical variable, our treatment variable, had 5 levels. We can come in and take a look and see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we know that in our ANOVA table we should see, especially for our temperature, our treatment level, there should be 4 degrees of freedom, but there's only 1. This is happening because R is treating this variable as a number, and so it is going to fit our ANOVA, and it's not fitting it the way we expect it to. And just as a note, if you run the summary function, you're going to get that same table. It just looks slightly different. So what do we need to do? Well, we're going to run ANOVA again. In fact, we're going to run, we only need these 2 lines. We're going to run these same calls again. I'm going to call this ANOVA 2 just to keep track of things. But there's a very easy thing that we can do. We need temperature to be considered a categorical variable or a factor in R. And so if we plug as.factor around this categorical variable and now run this, we will see we get a different output here. We have different degrees of freedom. We're going to have different sums of squares. We're going to have for both our treatment and our error, and everything else comes out different. Now in this case, these are both still significant, but there's quite a difference here between an F value of 320 and an F value of 96. So there's very quickly how we can run ANOVA and this main item to be careful of here. So please enjoy and be careful, and let's have fun finding the answers to some of life's questions using ANOVA.